All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of the Yellow Card Podcast. Your boy Diego DJ Jones right next to me. If you are watching this on YouTube, this is the first time in history of the Yellow Card Podcast.
This is weird.
After 100 plus episodes, we're in the same fucking room, the same setting, finally recording. If you are listening to us on Spotify, you're probably rewinding the tape back and being like, what the fuck are Diego and Jones doing? Because I agree, this is a big moment in history. But anyways, welcome to episode 6 of the Yellow Card Podcast Season 2, brought to you by the both of us and powered by the both of us. FIFA World Cup. That's right. FIFA World Cup going on right now. We're recording on the same day that Team USA miraculously won against Iran. Iran, I should say. My bad mispronunciation of the country.
Trying to get us canceled already.
Yeah, we're already. Oh, we've been canceled long ago, man. Team USA, Pulisic sacrifices himself. We found out throughout the day that he's actually being seen in a hospital right now for a potential concussion protocol that might take him out of the next game. Potentially, we don't know that for sure just yet. If you are not following us, make sure that you are following us on Twitter at Podcast Card. Get all the updates, all the information that you need on the World Cup up to date. Again, by the two of us, we'll be live tweeting everything that's going on the World Cup as it is at the moment and right to the minute. If you're not following us on TikTok, our boy over here putting us on fire content. If you didn't see it today, shame on you. If you didn't see it yesterday, shame on the two of you again. Make sure that you're following us on TikTok at Yellow Card Pod. That's our handle over there. On YouTube, just type in Yellow Card Podcast, search us up. You'll see our beautiful logo on there and our beautiful faces. And on Spotify, same thing, Yellow Card Podcast. Make sure that you're looking for our logo and make sure that you're following up to the right season, which is season 2. Anyways, World Cup going on. What are your? Let's start off with day one to right now. What is your opinion on this World Cup up to right now? Everything included.
I think so far the World Cup we've come to the conclusion that this is probably one of the better World Cups we've seen in the past decade.
Probably,
maybe.
Yeah.
I'd say probably the last 3 or 4 World Cups. Maybe since Italy's won the World Cup in 2006.
Yeah, that you're bringing up some great memories. Yeah, Italy in 06. If you lived in the Boston area, you know that was a big party day in the North End.
Absolutely.
I don't remember seeing so many cannolis flying up on the street, and I don't remember many police officers still up to this day celebrating such a massive victory for Italy like it was that day in the North End. I mean,
that day, and then probably the Euros was probably the 2 biggest days. Around here.
Yeah, I agree. I remember some things that up to this day I have not seen ever again and do not want to see ever again. You women are wild, and you know exactly who you are. But anyways,
those are what we call yeesh.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. But anyways, so up to right now, yeah, one of the best World Cups that we've seen. Let's go over some of the details. So, first and foremost, the World Cup song, as we know it now, is Tukutaka by Maluma and Nicki Minaj. Great song. If you haven't listened to it so far, it's got its rhythm to it. It's a warming
song.
It's warming up to me. I still don't think it's one of the best World Cup songs up to this day. I definitely think Waka Waka.
It's a vibe. Waka Waka. No one will touch Waka Waka.
Unstoppable. Same with A Couple of Life though with Ricky Martin.
Yeah, no.
That's a goldly one underrated.
I was about to say it's very underrated.
Yeah. So The Couple of Life with Ricky Martin, Waka Waka by Shakira, 2 fantastic songs. Waving Flag is definitely a contender up there. I just don't think it's as much of a vibey song as Tukutaka is right now.
I would agree.
But that's just me with my DJ talk and my.
So let's get back into the soccer aspect of it. Soccer aspect of it.
Now, soccer aspects of things. Group A and Group B, as we noticed today, we know who's moving on to the next round. Netherlands, Senegal, USA, and England moving on to the next round. Those are the first 4 moving out. Through those groups, though, I mean, great surprises. Ecuador did not perform so bad for their first World Cup in however many years. Unfortunately, though, they met up against a Senegal that wanted it more than they did this year. Ecuador was kind of dormant to begin with in the first half. I think you would agree to that.
Yep.
But overall, a great performance. It's a very young team with a lot of future ahead of them. Would not surprise me if they're in USA Mexico 2026. Then moving on, we had England, USA, Wales, and Iran in the same group. All four teams actually very surprising. Wales performed really well. Unfortunately, saw themselves out immediately. Iran, kind of the same. They did a really good job against England. They gave them a really good game.
I have a bold take about that, but I'll let you finish your group stuff.
USA, still a relatively young team that needs to find their chemistry and needs better tactics moving forward for their future. Berhalter's doing so far so good, but they need better tactics in order to compete against some of the bigger European titans and some of the other titans around the globe. But England, many thought that they were going to be the choke artists of the World Cup, and they have silenced many critiques. What are some of your takes?
I think to go on Group B really quick, I think Wales vastly underperformed expectations because the way they looked against the US, we both agreed that it was going to be a close game, and it was, but they got bailed out on a Walker Zimmerman bad play, which led them to getting the Gareth Bale goal late on. So that literally the only way how they got their point. Yeah, and they're on track to get another point against Iran. Iran came back and they beat them, and then they did not look like their normal selves today against England. So I think realistically, Wales underperformed out of these first two groups. I think bold take, if Iran's goalie doesn't get knocked out in the first 10 minutes of that Iran game, I think it's a lot closer of a game than what the score gave. No, that's that I can agree with. I would say you're right about that. I don't think England beats them 6-2. I think they beat them maybe 2-0.
Yeah,
I think that's the difference in the style of play there.
Yeah.
And when you talk about England's silence and some of the doubters, I think for me they're still very much so on upset watch. We're gonna go over the 2 round of 16 matches that we have so far before we dive into the rest of the slate. And I really, really, really think that England is a team to watch to get upset for, because that Senegal team is scrappy. They're going to be in their face, and some of these English strikers have struggled against Eduardo Mendy, who is the Senegal goalkeeper in club play.
So I agree with that. I do think that there's a little bit of credit to be given there to England, though. If you wind back the tape to some of the players that vastly underperformed during the Euros in the classifying rounds for England, and you look at who they are now, you would say they are performing up to par. You're looking at the Phil Fodens of the world, Marcus Rashards of the world. Marcus Rashford was not even supposed to be in the World Cup squad.
Right.
He got a last minute call up, and he's showing us the reason as to why he deserved that. Jordan Pickford has been phenomenal so far for England. Defensively, I think there is some struggles ahead for England for sure. I don't think that Luke Shaw is the answer in the left wing, and I don't think that
they looked good without Luke Shaw in lineup today.
Yeah, the continuous debate between Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kyle Walker in the right, it's kind of pointless. Trent showed today that he deserves to be the starting role. And then the more I look up and down that lineup today, like for example, another one that has pleasantly surprised has been Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire has been decent.
I wouldn't say surprised, because we're used to by now seeing him playing as well as he does on the national level.
Right, but we also used to, and we known for a while now that he's been vastly under the shape that he needs to be at to perform at his best.
Oh, for sure.
But he's shown that with confidence and patience so far by Gareth Southgate that he deserves the role that he's been given. Declan Rice, another great player today that showed great reasons as to why he should be in the starting lineup more often. Other than that, I mean, the squad itself looks decent. I still believe though that for Southgate, his decision making is what's gonna be either the success factor for England or the absolute failing factor for England. There is no in between.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Um,
But I think if we're talking about like, we think of the best player from Group B overall right
Yeah.
now, I would
Marcus
say,
Rashford.
I would lean in a different direction. I'd say it's Matt Turner. Matt Turner is single-handedly the reason why US is still here right now.
I would argue differently. I think for Team USA there is 2 to 3 players that are arguably the reason as to why Team USA is still in there.
Christian Pulisic.
Christian Pulisic is definitely one of them. Matt Turner is definitely the other one, and the leadership and captaincy by Tyler Adams. Tyler Adams
Adams has been great.
He's been a solid rock back there for Team USA. He's led them correctly. He's gotten himself out of controversial issues. I mean, just for example, this past week we saw a very evil-minded question asked by an Irani reporter, but he handled it the professional that he is. And with that handling, it also came to the handling of how he managed to go through the rest of the second half against Iran after Pulisic was knocked out, and they had to go with other routes that they're not used to. He was constantly telling Brendan Aronson where to go through and try to create some plays.
Aronson, come on. Brendan Aronson. You don't need, it's the US names. You don't need to overpronounce it.
Aronson. He's got to know after the Aaron. That's all I give a fuck about. If you guys just don't know how to pronounce it, just differently. Don't spell shit weird. The other one that I can maybe say that is somewhat of a good performer in this World Cup has been Sargent.
Yeah, no, Sargent's been very good.
You know, Sargent's been decent, but other than that, I mean, Group A in itself, it's got too many figures. It's got too many talents in there.
Group B.
No, Group A. Moving out of Group B, Group A in itself has got some decent talent coming up. I mean, Cody Gakpo, he's been very good for Netherlands.
He's been my player of Group A.
He's been the surviving reason for Netherlands. Yep. Other than that, somebody else is scoring for them.
Nope.
Frankie de Jong has been okay. I still think that for the hype and the hype that he created for himself, he's vastly under delivering still.
Virgil has been horrendous.
Virgil, I don't know what's going on with this guy, man, but he's been brutal.
He's not been great.
Other than that, the rest of the team, I mean, is there, but
I still think they're gonna win. Even though I've seen how badly they've looked.
I haven't seen much from Matthews, the lead. I haven't seen much from him.
His head's in completely different
I just haven't seen much from him, and I still think that, you know, if he was to be one of the guys that could actually deliver for them, he would be a major role maker in that team. But
so why don't we just dive into these round of 16 matchups that we already have announced?
Let's do it.
The time we're recording. So the first one we're gonna do is gonna take place on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're not going to keep it off the record for now.
Okay.
Off the record, maybe we'll change our minds as it progresses. We get Pulisic's health, if he's going to play or not.
Yeah,
change a couple things.
Yeah.
But Netherlands and the United States are the first one. Obviously, I've chosen Netherlands to win the World Cup at the beginning of this. I'm still riding with it. However, I don't think the US is fully out of it. I think I think purposefully, if you look at this, if you look at the way that Netherlands shapes up, you look at the way the US shapes up. If Pulisic is out there, US has a real fighting chance.
Yep.
I think we saw what they did against England. They got the draw. They did, and they controlled the possession of that game. I think they could do the same thing against this Netherlands team. And if you keep Gakpo out of scoring, you have a real good chance of winning. Right now, I'm going to say the Netherlands win. I'm going to say it's 1-0, but they go to extra time. I think they're going to go 0-0 through the first 90, and we get 15 minutes, and in the second set of 15 minutes, the Netherlands score. That's my prediction right now, as of how I see that game playing out. I think the dogfight between both teams. I think the Netherlands squeak out a 1-0 win.
All right, so we do have an update in regards to Christian Pulisic as of right now. ESPN reporting at the moment that Christian Pulisic has suffered an abdominal injury against Iran, however, not determined to be out of the game against Netherlands. So some treatment, some medicine along the way could go for Christian Pulisic, but he might be available for the game against the Netherlands.
I think he'll come off the bench.
I think so too.
I think he'll do the reverse Weston McKennie role right now, because Weston McKennie's been banged up, and what McKennie's done is
he's gotten brutally tackled.
he's gonna really tackle. I agree, but what he does is he sets the tone.
Yeah.
So he plays 60, 65, 70 minutes, sets the tone, and then someone comes in off the bench. I think of it like that, flip that as Pulisic, especially if we're going down the latter part of it, down the stretch, and they need that guy, Pulisic will be there. So I'm gonna say the US is really, really, really going to have to play their best game.
Well, here's also another card that has been vastly underutilized, and that this is the perfect scenario for Team USA to bring the upset against Netherlands. You talked about McKennie taking the place of Christian Pulisic, right? Which is
the reverse roles of McKennie setting the tone early, having someone come in for him, and then Pulisic.
I still think with the formation that Berhalter has been rocking lately of a 4-3-3 formation, I think if he stays with the same four that he utilized today, the same three that he utilized in the midfield, I think all he needs to do is alternate the three in the midfield, because Weston McKennie can realistically play a third forward role, while Gio Reyna could take his role and switch places with Musa on the opposite end. If Gio Reyna is to be utilized, then Christian Pulisic can come in off the bench to replace either Reyna or McKennie.
My only thing with the Gio Reyna stuff is, you and I have talked about this off camera, but more stuff's coming out that apparently going into the Wales game, the US head coach asked him to lie about his injury, so that he wasn't fully healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
could be part of the reason why he hasn't played.
The other major person that could make a huge role in here could be two people. Could be Roldan, or it could be Yetland as well. Because Yetland can also play the McKennie role while McKennie moves forward.
Yep.
So that's another major development there that could happen for the game against the Netherlands. I still think that the USA could potentially bring an upset.
I think they could too. I'm predicting the Netherlands to win 1-0.
Okay, fair enough.
What about you?
Me personally, I see this game going to penalties.
You and the penalties when we get to this, man. You love to just.
I personally see that there's a problem here though, because for me, like, Netherlands for me doesn't have the edge yet over Team USA, but USA team also doesn't have the edge over Netherlands.
So
they're two very equal teams that we will see that in the field. And if that happens to stay in the field, we see a full-time draw of 1-1, goes into penalties. And this is where Team USA gets to go ahead. They're very mature for a young team that they are, while for the Netherlands, for themselves, who's to take penalties for them? There's Gakpo. Yeah, Gakpo will nail it. Van Dijk will nail it. De Jong will nail it. But after that, who else? You got Klaassen, Dumfries, Delete. All those guys could. Bergwijn could also choke under pressure. After that, for the Netherlands, there's really not many guys that can nail it. Matt Turner's also a very good keeper when it comes to penalties, versus the Netherlands keeper that's very shaky in penalties. For Team USA, there's actually 5 good players that could take penalties: DeAndre Yetland, McKennie, Pulisic, Reyna, and Tyler Adams himself.
But Reyna's got to be on the pitch. I don't know if he's going to be on the pitch because of what is going on between him and that coach.
He could be a last-minute substitution for full-time, though. That's the problem.
I'll have to wait and see, I guess.
I think experience will come to show for Berhalter that he needs to have him there if he wants to go into the further rounds, which Team USA in history, as far as I remember, they have not made it to the round of 8.
Yeah.
But
So let the record show: Jones, Netherlands 1-0. Diego, USA moving on via penalties.
Yep.
England and Senegal is the other round of 16 game that's already solidified, confirmed. They're going to be playing Sunday, I believe, at 2:30.
Yeah, 2:30 or something like that.
2:30
Yeah.
Eastern time.
Yeah.
And this is where, so for me, this is where I think England's in trouble. I think England, just looking at their path, right? So obviously, I'm going to dive into, what the potential route would be for a USA or an England potential to meet in the final again. If England is to beat Senegal, they would have to take on the winner of the Group D winner and the Group C runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
Which right now the Group D winner would be France. And the Group C runner-up is probably going to be Poland.
Or Mexico.
Or Saudi Arabia. Any one of those.
Yeah, those 3 teams are basically.
Or even Argentina. Could be Argentina. We could get France and Argentina right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just based off how the groups are shaped up. So right there and then, England beats Senegal. They're going to have another tough test just to get into the Final Four. So I think England potentially looks ahead. I think Senegal catches them by surprise. I think Senegal goes up early 1-0. I think England comes back. I think this is the penalties. I think England wins in penalties. Because we've seen Eduardo Mendy kind of struggle in penalties in the past.
I think.
So I'm going to say England moves on via penalties as of right now. But I would not be surprised if Senegal upsets them either.
There's a potential of a Senegal upset. But I think for me, the biggest problem that Senegal has is the threat that Phil Foden and Marcus Rashford present to the defense that is not very good under pressure. Mm-hmm. And that's where, for Mendy, he's been tremendous as a keeper so far for Senegal, but it's only so much he can do.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the problem comes for Senegal. And I think England moves on. I think if they have to move on, though, that matchup will probably be realistically, actually, it'll be England versus France.
Yeah, potentially. England, Argentina. England, Poland. Could be one of those.
Well, it's either the runner-up of C or D.
Winner of Group D. The winner of Group D is France.
Yeah.
So France moves on out of that.
Yeah.
And that's who England would.
But it wouldn't be Argentina though.
Well, if Argentina doesn't win the group, they'll play France. In Group C. Group C runner-up. Say if they draw against Poland.
If they draw against Poland, they still actually no, because of goal differential and point differential.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So something to keep an eye on.
But Argentina could also be missing the World Cup if Mexico wins and they lose against Poland.
Correct. But we'll dive into that slate of games in a couple more minutes here, because obviously we have to pick out the rest of the group stage.
Yep.
Speaking of the group stage, Diego, top dog right now, 22-14. I'm sitting at 18-18. It's been tough. It's been
a little rough.
I think for me, I've bought in way too much into the you can't move on as repeating champion. So I think me picking against France definitely didn't help a couple times.
Well, I think you also bought on to some of the teams that upset it early in the World Cup too. You called several draws that unfortunately didn't turn out to be that way. And we're also last minute factors as well.
Yeah, no, so. Also I think I bought in too much on Cameroon. I think it's a big one for me.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
0-2 on Cameroon picks, we'll say.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I'm 0-2 in Australia picks too.
Yep, you did.
All right.
Yep.
So let's dive into the first game on my agenda here that I have is Australia and Tunisia.
You mean Denmark? Because Tunisia's facing France.
Yes, no, you're right. Jesus Christ. This is what happens when I write draw instead of just having the game written out like you do. So what's the first one you have? Tunisia and France?
So I got Tunisia versus France.
Okay, so Tunisia versus France. First one. Tunisia fighting to stay alive potentially. France has already moved on, trying to lock up Group D. I think I'm going to take France to win 2-0 this one. I don't think they put out their all-star team, but I think France does enough to get the job done and solidify themselves
And it
as the
begins.
Group D winner.
The bullshit begins.
Well, listen, honestly, dude, I don't want to hear from you because I walked into your apartment and your predictions weren't even right.
No, but I didn't even look at your predictions. I literally just jotted them down. I literally just jotted them down as I thought. So Tunisia versus France, I also got a 2-0 score. I think France is focused on showing the superiority that they have shown so far. Kylian Mbappe doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
He's just so good in the World Cup.
He's phenomenal. So I got them 2-0 as well.
Okay, now the next one we have, I got this one right now. It's Australia and Denmark.
Yep. And just so you guys know, I'm covering my predictions. I haven't seen Jones's predictions either, so we see more tied up scores. This is how you know that this is a very controversial podcast for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, so listen, I will sit here and I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. I think for me, Australia just needs to get a point and move on. I think that's exactly what they're going to try and go for here. I'm going to take Australia and Denmark to finish in a 1-1 draw.
I think for Denmark themselves, the story isn't over, and they're going to want to do basically what they did at the Euros. If they win, they can go ahead and move in front of Australia. So I got Denmark winning this one 2-1.
Denmark 2-1. Okay. So Denmark was my original winner of the group, with Australia coming in second. Obviously, you know, because I bought into the France nonsense, which I shouldn't have done. So
yeah,
but we'll see what happens. So with that, Diego has France and Denmark moving on. I have France and Australia.
Yep.
Okay. Next one, we have Group D action.
Yep.
We have Mexico and Saudi Arabia.
Yes, we do.
So what do you got there, mister?
I got Mexico winning this one 2-0 against Saudi Arabia.
Mexico desperately needs a win here. You know, they're sitting at the bottom of Group C, 1-1, -2 goal differential, 1 point. They need this win because if they do this and they win, and they get the 2-0 win, like you and I both think, because I also have 2-0 written down, they'll go to 0 goal differential.
Yeah.
And if Argentina loses, they're number 2. So, and if Poland loses, right? Say Poland loses, and Argentina beats them by 3.
Yeah.
Then Mexico would move on.
Yep.
Still some potential there. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Mexico has to help themselves, and in order to do that, they need to win. So we'll go 2-0 both ways.
Exactly.
All right. The next one is Poland and Argentina. This is probably the second best game left that we have in the group stage.
Yeah.
I think we'll dive into the best one after this. So I'm gonna go because I think both Poland and Argentina are going to advance. I think Poland's gonna win the group. I'm gonna say it finishes in a 1-1 draw. So Poland wins Group C, and Argentina is the runner-up, and we get Argentina and France in the round of 16. So I'm gonna go 1-1 draw, which means Poland would play the winner of
Group E.
No, it's D. So they would play the runner-up of Denmark and Australia. Whoever wins that game would play them.
Yeah.
Which again would be a nice little buffer for the Netherlands or the US.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
In the round of 8.
Absolutely.
So.
For the Argentina versus Poland game, I got Argentina winning that one 3-0.
Any specific reason why?
I think for Argentina, it's imperative to show that they're still a major force in the tournament. They haven't shown that just yet. They fell short against Saudi Arabia. They almost fell short against Mexico. They played a very good game against Mexico, but nothing that shows that they're the superior team of the whole entire group. And I think this is a statement win for themselves.
I just think that Martinez is antics back there. He's gonna give a goal with Lewandowski or Milic.
Well, Martinez is not available for this game.
Oh, he's not. That's
They're
right.
booking. So
Idiot. So who's
listen, idiot and all, but he
Who's
did
that?
save He did save Argentina from falling to Mexico. Mexico had plenty of chances in that last game. If it wasn't for Lisandro being physical,
That's true.
Mexico could have cost an issue to Argentina.
It's true. It's true.
So
So yeah, but I also really like Szczesny in the back for them. I think that's why I like it as a 1-1.
I mean, Szczesny already threw down the gauntlet against Messi, saying that he's been studying him hard and he's gonna play him hard. I wouldn't have said that if I was Polish myself.
No, of course not. Of course.
Knowing that you're facing one of the greatest strikers in the whole world right now. But hey, anything is possible at this World Cup if we've learned something.
Gotta do what you gotta do. All right, next one we got is Canada and Morocco. This one, so listen, Canada's sitting at the bottom of Group E.
They're already
No,
eliminated
F,
though.
excuse me, Group F. Yes, but at the same time, they can also help a team like Belgium. And realistically, Canada hasn't played their best. Giving up 5 goals in 2 games, only scoring 1 from Alphonso Davies. But they've also played the 2 best teams, and I think they're going to come into this game with Morocco with nothing to lose. Morocco has everything to lose. Canada has everything to gain. I think Canada gets a little bit of experience here. I think they win 2-0.
This is ridiculous. Here we go.
Canada dry 2-0 for Diego.
It's literally the same reasons. I think Canada has nothing to lose against a Moroccan team that's got everything to sacrifice for themselves. They're hoping to at least get a draw against Canada, while Belgium will have to suffer and get themselves a win against a tough Croatian team that's basically ahead with 4 points. So yeah, I agree.
Think of it like this: Morocco having probably their biggest win of all time, beating Belgium.
Yep.
It's a letdown spot the game out.
Yeah.
Canada's going to come in and win 2-0. Beat them good. Speaking of Belgium, they play Croatia.
I think Belgium falls against Croatia. We've noticed what's been going on with Belgium. Their team chemistry is not there. Some of the players have already trash talked one another. John Bertonga throwing his jabs at Eden Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne throwing his jabs at the whole entire team. Eden Hazard saying that if Eden Hazard wasn't better for him, Eden Hazard could carry Belgium by himself.
Yep.
Romelu Lukaku not happy about being benched over Mitsuashi, or however you want to say his last name. Courtois hasn't spoken to De Bruyne in years.
Yep. That doesn't help.
It's just bad chemistry altogether for this Belgian team. We know that Coach Martinez is trying to be done with this Belgium team, looking to go back into club management. So honestly, I think this is over for Belgium. The golden era is done, and it's done through Croatia winning 2-1.
I don't think it's done necessarily yet. I think so. If they draw, and Canada beats Morocco by 3,
yeah,
they can still get in. But I just think FIFA needs Belgium in. So I think Belgium squeaks out a 1-0 victory against Croatia. And I think they will be the winner of Group F, which means they will take on the Group E runner-up, which I mean I wouldn't want to play them either.
No,
because Group E's been like the group of death.
Yeah,
it's been crazy. So let's dive into the Group E games. Costa Rica and Germany. Germany sitting in last place right now. They need to win bad in order to move.
Germany needs to show why they're the German machine. They have everything to do so as well with this team. They have everything possible to do it. They just haven't found that rhythm.
The thing is, Germany is sitting in last place with 1 point, -1 goal differential. Costa Rica ahead of them still is -6 goal differential, and then you have Japan ahead of them with 0. And all from Spain to Germany, it's a 3-point gap.
Yeah.
All Germany needs to do is win, and they're in.
Yeah.
More than likely. So realistically speaking, here, I think they win 2-0. I think they get the job done against Costa Rica. I think they win 2-0 and they finish second in the group.
I think with how battered Costa Rica guy against Spain. And how difficult of a game it was against Japan for Costa Rica. I don't think there's anything left in the tank for Costa Rica. I think this is an easy victory for Germany going 5-1.
5-1. That would be a big one. For me,
It's a statement victory for Germany. It's a
the
end of career for Kayla Navas.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot to put some. The Costa Rican team beat Japan by shooting one shot and winning.
Yeah, it was luck.
It was all luck.
All luck.
They could easily be sitting at zero total points right now.
But physically, they were better after that game. Physically, have not been even able to be close.
I think Germany gets the job done. So both of us are on Germany.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Japan and Spain. This is the big one.
I'd say Spain wins this one. They have not shown any signs of slowing down, and I don't think they're planning on slowing down.
They're young and they're hungry, man. This is one of the things we said. They're inexperienced, but they're a young and hungry bunch. And if they can get the chemistry there, they're going to be a tough out.
One of the most beautiful things that I've seen about Spain is the rise of Pedri and Gavi. It reminds me a lot of when Spain had the midfield of Xavi, Busquets, and Iniesta. They still have Busquets in that midfield, but now Pedri and Gavi have risen to kind of be the next Xavi and Iniesta for Spain. And I think they're going to be major factors here. I see Spain winning 3-1. Is that your same score?
I also have to win 3-1. Japan, they played with the house money against Germany, beat Germany. They played so well against Costa Rica. It's a defeating loss. I just don't think they bounce back from that against the Spain team. No. Especially because Spain wants to get that 1 seed because they want to lock up and take on either Belgium or Croatia or even Morocco. You know what I mean?
By the way, what was your score against Belgium and Croatia? Not to go back.
I 1-0 Belgium.
1-0 Belgium.
Okay. The last 4 games we have. First one is Ghana and Uruguay. Uruguay is sitting at the bottom of the table.
They need a win.
Ghana needs at least a point to solidify themselves to move on.
That's right.
So I think they get the point. I think Uruguay plays them tough. I think Ghana does what they need to do. I think it's a 1-1 draw.
I think knowing what Uruguay has to offer right now, how hungry Darwin Núñez looked against Portugal and how frustrated he was, I think we see another really good performance from him. And I'm gonna go 1-0 Uruguay.
The only thing that worries me about Uruguay is the fact that they haven't been able to find the back of the net first 2 games.
Yeah. I mean that's fair, but I think for Uruguay as well, one of the things that they have for themselves is the header game, which Ghana has not been good defending.
That's true.
So
this is true. They have not been. Then the last one is Portugal and Korea out of that group.
Yep.
Portugal already qualifying. I think they do the same thing. I just think they beat Korea. They move on. I think they win 2-0.
Yeah, I agree with that score as well. I have that down for Portugal as well.
Next one is Switzerland and Serbia. So Switzerland's sitting in second place with 3 points.
Yep.
They win, they're in. Brazil's already in. So battle for second place. If Switzerland wins, they're in. If they draw,
Serbia moves on.
No, if they draw, Serbia is tied for last. So if they draw with Serbia, then they could potentially move on depending on how Cameroon does against Brazil.
Right.
So I think Switzerland moves on. I don't think we have to worry about anything. I'm gonna go Switzerland squeaking out 1-0.
I got a draw for Switzerland here. I just think Serbia is gonna play them tough. They play Brazil really tough as well. I think they're gonna try and be a pest, even though they got nothing to fight for. So
that's true. All right, last one: Brazil and Cameroon.
I got Brazil winning this one, 4-2. I think for Cameroon, there's several aspects that Brazil right now has to offer that they can't go from Brazil.
I think Cameroon jumps on them early. I think Cameroon gets up early, but I think at the end of it, Brazil wins, squeaks out 2-1.
All right, 2-1.
All right, so looking at what the FIFA World Cup bracket will look like starting on Saturday. I think realistically it helps. Netherlands and US winner kind of has potentially a clear path to
Yep,
the
at least
the Final
semifinals. Yeah,
to the Final Four, based off of if Poland wins the group. Poland wins the group. You go Poland, and then you go Denmark or Australia. I think USA or the Netherlands could be either of those teams.
yep,
Then you scroll down a little bit further. They would play either right now Spain, Belgium, Croatia, Morocco, Group F, Brazil, or Ghana.
yeah.
So I think there's potential that we get a Brazil and Spain quarterfinal matchup up top, which would be great for
Would be fantastic for this World Cup.
be great for Spain to get Hungary to see if they can do what they can to move on. Because I think the winner of that goes on and probably fights for
The World Cup, yeah.
World Cup.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, realistically speaking, if it's the Netherlands, I think the Netherlands can give either of them trouble. I don't think, and it's tough because I still think the Netherlands are going to win, but based on how everything's looking, it's tough for me up top. I think realistically, the winner of the potential Brazil Spain matchup that we get would probably compete on the top front for the World Cup. The bottom part is where it gets tricky here because you got England and France / Argentina potentially. You got Portugal and Croatia, Belgium on the bottom part, and then probably the winner of those two would play each other, and they would get it. And like I just feel like whoever comes out of the top part of the bracket is going to play a banged up team. And I think whoever comes out of the top part is going to win the World Cup. I think.
Yeah, I mean the way that this
I mean,
is
maybe
shaped,
not Brazil because Brazil's going to find a way to choke it. That's what they always do.
yeah, I mean I think that the final could go one or two ways. I still think that Portugal is very much in the final for this tournament. I still think a team like Argentina or Brazil could be in the final as well. I think Brazil. I still say that Brazil is the winner of the World Cup this year. I've written with them since the beginning.
Yes, you do.
I'm gonna ride with them until the end. But this also has the makings of a potential Argentina Portugal final, which is what the world is craving.
Be semifinal. The both. Maybe.
No, it could be the
It
final.
depends. It depends if they win the group or not.
It could be the
Argentina has to win the group. If Argentina wins the group, there that's a potential final. But if they don't win the group, that's a semifinal match.
Yeah, it could be the final too because, like I was just saying to you,
All Argentina has to do is win the group, and they're on opposite sides. But they have to win the group.
yeah, the semifinals could easily look like Argentina versus Brazil, France versus Portugal.
Or England and Portugal. I don't know. Definitely, once the round 16 officially kicks off, we're gonna have to figure out a time where we can record to go over other games. But I think we'll put the Saturday and Sunday slate at least on Twitter for for picks wise. I think I don't know. We're entering the month of December and we're getting some meaningful World Cup action. So I think you're just gonna have to stay tuned and be ready because we're halfway through the games played in Qatar. Next thing you know, we're already on the road to 2026 in the States.
Yep.
So
Which 2026 States and Mexico both are already in the World Cup because they're host nations.
correct.
So
I actually think Canada's in there too.
I think so too. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, we'll trust me. We got plenty of time to talk about 2026.
It's
World Cup
crazy. Yeah.
and where we think that. But with that being said, I want you guys to stay tuned because I just came up with an idea off the top of my head that I learned by my co-host.
Okay.
But we could be doing a potential. Let's just say content could be made.
Okay. I like where you're going. Don't know where you're gonna end, but I like where you're going.
Content could be made out of this. All right, but from both of us here, the Open Eye Podcast, make sure you're following us on TikTok. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube. You listen to us on Spotify, wherever you listen to our podcast. Make sure you continue to listen to us. And from myself, David Galvis, signing off episode 6, season 2. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.